Are you aware that we are recording this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. This is John Fraundorfer, and I'm here with my colleague Derek Watson, and we're with the Denver Construction Careers Program. And today we're sitting down with Matt Randall. He's the Vice President of Operations for IHC Scott. And recently they were involved with getting their own registered apprenticeship program set up. So Matt's here to tell us today about IHC's recent experience with setting up that registered apprenticeship program. And it's for industrial equipment operators. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've kind of got it pinned down to concrete, pavement, specialty type of role for the operating side of things. I'd have to pull the paperwork out specifically. The industrial, I'm not sure if that's what it's listed as. It's an operating engineer, I think, in the actual paperwork through the Department of Labor.
Operating engineer. Okay. All right. Well, good to know. So before we get into that, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became involved in the construction industry.
So yeah, I've been around it my entire life. My father worked for IHC. Eisenhower was the company before it turned into IHC, back out of Michigan, and we moved out to Colorado with the company when I was a young child. And when I turned 18, I started working in the summers on a road crew, laboring and doing some of that stuff. So I did that a few different summers, and during the original construction of DIA, I actually took a semester off of college, and then I took a whole year off of college, and I ran a crew out there in 92 and 93, and said, I'm pretty good at this. It wasn't what I was seeing my future at, and managing crews and just building in general. So I changed my degree, went back to school, and finished with a construction management degree out of Colorado State University, and then came back to IHC, which was like coming home because it's really all I've always known, the IHC way of things. Now IHC Scott. So that was 24 years ago, somewhere in there, when I came back, and I've been in my current role as a short period with the VP in front of it, but I've been the operations manager on the IHC arm of things for about the last 6.5 years.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for that background. I appreciate
Yep.
that. So tell us a little background on how this registered apprenticeship program came to be.
So it's really driven from some of the contract requirements got us moving on this with the Pena Design Build project that we're involved with out of DIA, and for DEN. There was a 15% of all labor hours on that job requirement to be apprenticeship, which is a very lofty goal for a non-union contractor. And we always were concerned. We don't know if we're going to ever be able to make that, right? There's a fair amount of cost that you can spend as a non-union contractor through other programs, the CCA, for example. But there's, in some of the OJT stuff in the CDOT world or the DOT world, you get some reimbursements back for it. This job was set up, really, it's a penalty, and you got to hit the hours, and there was no money to offset the cost for us to use a third party program. So we were looking into that, and if we don't hit the hours and we put 5-6 people into the program and we still don't get the 15%, we could still get penalized in the long haul. So we were weighing the pros and cons, to be honest. And as we started talking through some of the meetings we were having on a weekly basis, we came up with, we do a whole bunch of training as a contractor and as a company. It's a big part of our philosophy, and trying to drive down core values to the core level, because those are the guys putting work in place. So we've always had what we called a sponsor buddy program. So when we bring a new guy in, we assign him a sponsor buddy, and then he helps them learn the tricks of the trade. It's your mentor, so to say, right? And helps onboard guys quicker. And then we have a lot of internal specialized training for slip form concrete paving and batch plan operation, which are pretty unique parts of the heavy civil industry, right? There's not a whole lot of people that are out there. It's not like a carpenter. it's a more specialized trait. Because there's concrete pavers all over the place, but it's a pretty small group. And the guys that really have the technical knowledge to run the slip form pavers with dowel bar inserters, or to run, central batch plants are a little few and far between. So most of that we build in house. So those programs have always helped us get a guy, hey, he has aptitude, he wants to do more, we can get him in that program and move him up through. So those were things we were always doing. We just weren't in any kind of formalized program. And when we first got in, Chris Jensen, who's our design build manager out there in Pena, he did a little bit of research during the RFP process on what it would take us to get through the apprenticeship side. And we were like, oh, that's a daunting task. It's more than we'll ever be able to get through. But as things unfolded, and we were able to get some support from, Ken and Arliano and that group out of the Urban Workforce Alliance, it really streamlined itself pretty quick, because a lot of the stuff we already had in place. We just didn't have it formalized through the Department of Labor and hadn't tried to submit it. So when we started really looking at what our program was and what that internal training that we're already doing, it really came together and helped us meet those requirements. And now we have a program registered in that side, which gives us a lot of benefit in the industry and internally and externally, to continue to make that training program more robust, more formalized as we go forward. That's going to do nothing but help us get some of those skilled individuals in our specialized work types.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Thank you. That's a great answer. Let me follow up with you on just a piece of this. What do you see as the advantages for both IHC and its employees on why you guys decided to move forward in creating your own registered apprenticeship program?
Well, I'm a business manager, Derek, right? So obviously there's some financial benefit.
Right,
to
there's
that.
a business case.
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Tell us about
less cost for us to go out to a third party entity, makes us more marketable in any kind of future proposals and to be in compliance with contracts. Not just something that has a apprenticeship requirement on a labor hour, but any of the DOT jobs that have OJT requirements and some of that stuff. We've always done some of that through CDOT. And we get reimbursed a little bit, but now we can do that stuff in-house on some of the DOT platform as well.
Yeah.
So there's big benefits from a business perspective, but there's huge benefits and unspoken benefits of getting guys into that program that makes them more part of it. They're not just a number, they're an employee, but hey, I'm in this apprenticeship stuff, and these guys have a program here to really try to help teach me the tricks of the trade and the skill set to be a concrete paver operator, or to be a ground man on a concrete paver that frankly can take years, depending on the aptitude of the individual. But it's a very technical, a lot of the old guys say it's an art. But there's, as we get into more technical stuff, very computer driven, and we're running off of robotic stations, stringless paving, and it's a skill that not everybody has. So having somebody that really sees the benefit and it gets them to buy in more about where their future is, gets us a little bit more formalized plan in a longer duration.
Absolutely. I earlier you mentioned the work that you did with Ken Ariano. I know he's our statewide registered apprenticeship consultant. Tell us about that experience, because I know you also said the task seemed daunting, and we've heard that before. But tell us about what your experience was in working with Ken.
Ken and it was a great experience, really, because it helped streamline stuff. We were able to get some quick guidance and some examples of what we needed to present. without having to call the Department of Labor 10 times, and they had a grasp of what we needed to turn in and what was going to be acceptable. And, you know, how big of a descriptor do we need on the details of the training, and what's the format that they're looking for, and stuff along those lines. And Ken's very knowledgeable in that process. You know, I don't know how many non-union stuff he's helped push through, but you know, that stuff seems to be more formalized through the union halls and some of that end. And they were able to give us, here's some examples from some different states, that stuff. And once we started looking at that end, I was like, you know, this isn't going to be too bad to pull together. You know, we have most of this done, is just getting it in the proper format. It wasn't like, oh, we have to go create this training class. The only thing we have had to do, that we did get some help, I'm spacing on his name, Derek, but somebody came through and helped us with an adult learning technique.
Oh, that was
Training.
from our Work Now partners.
I think he is Mike.
Mike Smith.
Mike Smith. I think that's right.
Yeah, no, he works with our Work Now team. And
teachconstruction.org is what his email was. So
yeah.
And we had dealt with him with some other people internally. We had provided some endowments through a place he was working before, which was training some workers that came when our old owner, Ralph C. Wilson, passed away. We and the foundation came together. He was the owner of the Buffalo Bills, and he was the owner of IHC. So when Ralph passed away in 2014, bunch of stuff and all his estate went into a trust, and was set up to provide endowments across the board. And we were the trust was great and gracious enough to give us some money to share in the industry. So we did it through a couple of the colleges, and we did it through that workforce teaching stuff that Mike worked at before.
Okay.
But he helped us pull together a short adult teaching technique, because that was one thing that's in the Department of Labor reporting, is the people that are doing the training and providing some of that classroom type of stuff more. We didn't really have any formalized, we don't have teachers, we have builders and construction guys, right? So we were able to get that online with his help. And now we have a 30-minute, 45-minute video that those guys can take and help get them thinking a little bit about how am I dealing with adult learning styles, which seems like it's been helpful for a couple of our guys. And just the guys that have been doing it for years, right? It's like I said before, a lot of it's nothing new. I mean, we do pre-works on every operation we do over and over and over, and we do technical workshop classes and specific paver classroom setup and repair and maintenance and troubleshooting classes and stuff along those lines that we were always doing. And that's, I think we were in one of those meetings, and I said, yeah, if we could use the people that we're already training and get them into that 15%, then maybe we could hit it, because I got a whole bunch of them. And that's how the thing kind of evolved, right, from that point. And next thing you know, and it wasn't that long of a process, Derek. I mean, it took some time and some effort, but I would encourage anybody that's out there, you know, that wants to get a more robust training program internally, to follow the process down and take it to fruition, because it's going to make your company stronger. It's gonna make you more marketable, and it's gonna help our workforce, right? I mean, that's a huge thing. I mean, even if the guys that we have don't stay with IHC, we're making good employees that are vested in the construction industry and taking care of our state and our marketplace in Denver, to help us build what we have out ahead of us, because we've been through some labor shortages and some crunches. And finding good people that want to work hard and see that end result they're not banging down your door these days as much as maybe they were years back. But
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this question, because we've talked about what the benefits have been for IHC Scott, and kind of how you guys have navigated the process to establish the program. Let's just say I'm interested in becoming an apprentice. What advice would you give them? And if you could tell us a little about the program itself.
so we've got some work to do there on our end, because it is new ground for our side. We've been able to get a couple of apprenticeships in the program to try to get through some testing stuff as we go. We want it to grow, but we still have some formalized documentation stuff we've still been working through, and trying to get this really structured so it can be sustainable.
Mhm.
We don't, the guys that we have in the program were people we already had that we saw potential in, and had been through some training stuff. So we started on that platform. As we continue to grow with IHC Scott and get this program more robust, because I mean, we have a training department. I have a director of training that works for me. Will help get this out in the industry, and through some of the work now places and that side. Hopefully we can develop some more openings that come through in a more formalized hiring process than hey, I'm looking for these 4 apprenticeships for this side. We're not quite there yet. So that's some hurdles we still have to get through. We're eyeballing the guys we have internally and saying, hey, we just hired that labor guy through that end, and he has really shown some aptitude and gravitation towards the concrete spreader or the paver or at the batch plant, and says he wants to learn how to run it. Then we can take that and roll it into an apprenticeship from that side, versus trying to just get one to say, hey, I have an apprenticeship specific for this spot. And a new hire position for that. So that's some stuff we still have to get work through, but we're not giving up by any means, Derek. We're very happy about where this thing is going, and the support we've got from all of our partnerships. I guess I would say, yeah, reach out, be getting down there, talking to the work now places, and use the resources that are out there, construction careers and that side, because opportunities exist. People are out there willing to train. If you're willing to come in there and say, I'm ready to be a hard worker and show up and do your job, and have some aptitude to learn, opportunities exist. I struggle with thinking I can't find a job. I can't find a job, because I think they're out there if somebody puts enough time and effort into it to get. Because I mean, we'll hire a laborer that has very little experience or no experience, and bring them in and teach them. I mean, a lot of our upper management and supervisors at IHC have been here long time and started just that way, coming out 18 and going to work in the summer and labor and running a shovel or cleaning up around the batch plant. And the sky's the limit. Look at me.
That's great.
That's a great story. So I believe you've already covered this, but are there any other tips, suggestions, or lessons learned as you went through this process you want to share with anybody, or is there anything else you want to share in general with our audience?
Yeah, don't ask for help, because it's out there with gentlemen such as yourself and the Urban Workforce Alliance, and Ken and some people on his team. There's people out there that are very passionate about this, because we see the success of it. I'm seeing it from the contractor side, but there's a huge staffing, right, Derek, and people on your end that are out there that are trying to promote this and trying to help our workforce develop, and reach out to those individuals and there's a lot of smart people there that can help you through the process and are very passionate about what we're doing and the end result of what we're doing for the community, and for the construction industry. It's invaluable. So don't think it's undaunting. Just get a good partner online, and if you have some training stuff in there, you can help get it developed more and more through even some of the Department of Labor stuff, because once you get into that side of things, they're very helpful. So it's been good. A lot of good partnerships made, and we're really looking forward to the future of it. My mind had always been, yeah, apprenticeship, that's union, right? If we're not a union contractor, how do I get an apprenticeship hour? But that's changed here over 2020.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that, for those words of inspiration, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that, are like Derek and you both said, it's kind of a daunting thing, or, where do I start? But you guys are a success story, definitely. Yep. So, Matt, I appreciate you being here today. And Derek, do you have anything else for him?
No, I do want to thank you, Matt, not just for today, but for your commitment to moving our industry forward. And you guys are a shining example of what can be done. And so I just want to acknowledge your efforts and thank you for that.
We're glad to be part of it, Derek. And yeah, if we're not helping push the industry and that side from all angles, contractors and partnerships and owners, and we're not going to get there in the future. So we're all in it together, and let's roll our sleeves up and make it happen. We're very excited about the future. That's for sure.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Matt. I thank you for taking the time to sit down with us today.
Appreciate your time, gentlemen. And appreciate all your support through the process.
Great. And we're always here for questions, and I know you guys are as well. So we appreciate your time again, and thank you, and you have a good rest of your day and a good weekend.
Enjoy your weekend as well, gentlemen.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.